Here's the truth about the food shortage. And what's absolutely amazing to me is the amount of people today that still cannot see the writing that's on the wall. And unfortunately, all of the global confluences that we're seeing that are adding to the problem, it's a multivariable equation along with supply chains, inflation with the monetary policy, as well as geopolitical tensions. There's a whole storm that's going on. It's a literal perfect storm, and many prepper channels have been talking about it. You have Economic Ninja, Canadian Prepper, Magic Prepper. So many prepping channels have been talking about this for years. And I would say right around 2019, we saw something really, really, really break in the market, and not just in the market, but also in the world. Primarily, what we're talking about is the repo market. I think right around October, September 2019, you had overnight rates really, really, really skyrocket. The Federal Reserve began to expand its balance sheet, and this was a very calm period in time in 2019. But if you were looking at, fundamentally underneath the system, there were cracks. And primarily, if we're looking at the food shortage, people that were looking at the grand solar minimum, people were looking at the possibilities of possible the possibilities of possibilities. But really, that's how it was. The geopolitical tensions were really, at that point in time, really showing us that there could be conflict. And it wasn't obviously like, hey, it was going to happen in Ukraine and Russia, but we were looking at the conflict in the Middle East, conflict in Asia, primarily with China, Iran, and now that what we're seeing going on in Russia and Ukraine, which is also, a breadbasket for the world, large percent of the world's wheat, which is also not going to feed people, but also going to feed a lot of the livestock. It's actually now in our face, and the people who deny this are completely screwed. And I just have to be honest. People might think it's egotistical. No, that's just how the natural world works. Okay, if you cannot prepare and you cannot identify potential threats, you're just going to end up a victim. It's how it goes. Now, if you want to have the philosophical game, play the philosophical game as whether or not the predator or the prey or those who are the victims and the oppressors or whatever are one and the same, that's a completely different story. But fundamentally, if you cannot see threats or possible threats and take rational and think coherently, take rational action towards those threats, and those threats end up being your demise, especially if people are telling you, like on YouTube, multiple channels, multiple people. And I mean, I'm 21 and it blows my mind. It blows my mind how people who are older cannot see this. It's like, I know I haven't been on this earth for a long time. And there are some people who have been on this earth for a very long time and seen the cyclical nature of what goes on in societies and in economies and businesses. And they still don't decide to take any sort of, preventative action. It blows my mind. Because what we're looking at now is essentially the central banks of the world, primarily in the Western world, with this inflation and the food shortage. They're basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. Where they either can begin to tighten monetary policy, which they're trying to do, to ease inflation, which is most likely going to add to the recessionary pressures, or eventually inflation is just going to cause the recession or exacerbate the economic downturn in and of itself, because the cure for high prices will eventually lead to low prices, because the cure for high prices is high prices and the cure for low prices is low prices. And it just baffles me how many people cannot see this. And if you're watching this and you're not prepared, you're probably already starting to, if you clicked on this video, you're probably already seeing the writing on the wall. But please take preventative action, because it's ridiculous at this point. For me, I started prepping when I was 18 years old, and actually kind of right before I turned 18, and it was terrible. The amount of people walking around, college campus, just seeing people completely oblivious to what was going to happen, completely oblivious. And then one week, people were saying, "Oh, there's rumors of this virus." And then next thing you know, everybody's the whole campus is a ghost town. Everyone has to go back home, and then the world literally changed forever since then. And a lot of people were so, and especially when you began to talk about food shortages at this time, people were so short-minded. They were like, "There's no way COVID could lead to food shortages." And I mean, I understand older people, and obviously, people my age. It's like we're this generation, fundamentally, it's like we're just spoiled. It's like we've really, really, gotten out of sync with the nature of our reality to the point where we think we can't struggle. Like we think money or food, literally we think money is something you can just print on a screen. And literally we think food is just something that just pops up in your shelf at the store. It just pops up in your mouth and in your belly, and now you have food. That's how it works. It grows on trees infinitely. No, there's so many multiple things going on, such a multivariable equation to add to food shortages to the point where if you're looking at just one thing, thinking that we can just, oh, the government's just gonna import food, you're done for. You're done for. Those people are done for. And it's probably not going to be you if you subscribe to this channel, because this at this point is getting to the point where I need to start making sure I can tell as many people as possible. Because for me, I've been trying to, and I'm trying to reach the right audience, like-minded individuals who will go out and be able to share, obviously, the presentations that are going to be coming, and also the different type of knowledge that can be really, really beneficial to people who don't want to go through those things. Some people, I guess, if you want to suffer and struggle, let it be your choice. But if people are informing you, that's on you.